Two. Welcome to another episode of You Feel Me? It's your boy Duffel.
It's Wah.
It's wall drain.
It's your boy Jaroan.
All right, so today we have an interesting topic. I always say that, but I feel like all our topics that we actually discuss are interesting. But today, I don't know if you guys have heard about the whole Rachel Nichols incident and how she's getting backlash for some statements that she made that was in a phone call with I think it's executive that's on LeBron's team. But moral of the story, and damn, who was the person that she was talking about?
Malika Andrews, right?
Yes, there you go. Malika Andrews. So basically, she said that the only reason that Malika Andrews got the opportunity to be on the sidelines and report and everything during the NBA Finals is because she's black, and they have when she said they, I don't know if she meant like I guess the NBA in general. That's what I assume she meant. Has bad history with diversity in their company, and I guess the faces that you see and everything like that, they have a bad rep with diversity. So she said something about diversity. She said them. So I assume she meant the
I
NBA.
think she was talking about ESPN in that situation.
Was she?
I
Okay,
agree.
it
But she wasn't talking about Malika Andrews, by the way. It was Maria Taylor.
Maria Taylor. Malika Andrews
is the one who replaced her.
Yeah. So it was gonna be Rachel Nichols and who was the Taylor person you said?
Maria Taylor.
Maria Taylor, but then they replaced Rachel Nichols. That was one of her consequences with Malia Andrews because of her statement. But anyways, if you guys haven't seen it, you should go look at it. But basically, that's what she said, and the recording came out, and basically, it shed some bad light on her, which I agree it should have. And there's been people that speak with her and against her, and we'll get into all of that. But basically, that's the gist of the story. But today, I want to ask, the people on the panel here, like, based on what I said about what she done, how does that make you feel, and what is your opinion?
Personally, I don't really see a big problem with how she felt per se, because I don't think it was out of racism or hatred or whatever. I think it was out of frustration and feeling like you're owed something, but someone's giving something. I feel like it's lack of empathy on her part. I mean, because as a woman, I feel like it's probably a hurdle she done had to cross. And, the most, the biggest respected woman, person in America is a black woman. So, she should understand and been understanding. I don't think they should fire her or nothing like that. I don't think they should fire her or anything like that. But I think that she needs to understand that just because something happens against you to help someone else does not mean that you should be against that if it's bettering the system, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I definitely feel like people kind of got on her about it, called her racist and everything like that because the climate we in, but I don't feel like that at all.
Yeah,
I my boy.
I agree. I don't think she was saying it out of place of racism. And I get she said it was in her contract or whatever to have whatever coverage she had. But by the same token, like it might have been, but I'm sure that contract was written like all contracts are written like this can change at any time without us telling you type of thing. So no one is ever 100% guaranteed to something. Like there was a way out of it, obviously. She didn't get it. And like I can understand her frustration because like Jaron said, it might have been taken away or whatever when she felt it was owed to her. But if it's like the company has a history of diversity issues, and the best time to fix that is now. Like, not who cares if they've had diversity issues in the past. Let's focus on what they're trying to do to make up for it. And maybe they took away your spot, but it's not like they just took it away clean. Like, obviously, she mentioned they tried to give her something else, and she didn't want to take that. which I understand her perspective on that, but I think she has done enough and she's gotten enough coverage over the last, almost 2 decades, that I feel like she could have let it slide and not, I guess, raise such a ruckus about it. I don't think she should be fired, but I think she should come out and say something about it. But yeah, I guess that's my overall perspective on it.
I agree with Jaron and Wall to many of their points. I don't like the whole racist thing. You know, I'm sure there's better people to speak about her character. I was gonna make a joke about chill for right now, but I think like Jaron said, it's a lack of empathy, but also it's like Wall said, like why does she probably feels like why does it have to be her? Why does she have to be the one to lose her job, lose her position, lose all that so that someone else could get their time to shine or maybe their opening moment? But you know, she spoke about it. She said she had to go through adversity, also being a woman in that field. So it's like, okay, you know what you had to go through to get to this position. You know how hard you had to work, how much you had to do, whatever, whatever. Why, when it's another woman, a black woman at that, who, like Jaron said, most discriminated group in America, like why do you see that discrimination and think, okay, you know, I understand her pain, but she shouldn't have to take my spot. Like it's strange. It's like you know how hard you had to work, you know how difficult it was, you know how the things weren't favored for you, and yet you know somebody else gets that chance and you want to fight it. That's a cute young man, bro. But like, mm, yeah, I understand her issue. I definitely understand her issue with it, just because her job got taken away. But I think she has to be the bigger person in this situation. And the conversation, I don't know how it got out. Probably leaked. It was probably just her venting. Like she probably wasn't saying anything negative about the woman or negative about. Well, she did say something negative about the company, but it's like you shouldn't be speaking like that about your coworker in general if you are talking to somebody else that's within the organization. You know what I mean? Like the person she was talking to was somebody who's like known in the NBA world, probably known in the ESPN world. So like there's always a potential for that to get back out. So, you know, she came out and said, you know, when you go into news, you have to make sure you're not the news. And I think she just fucked up there.
Karen, you're muted. You're muted on your probably your headphone.
Yeah, check your headphones. Your headphones? Your mic?
No, we can't hear you. Can't hear you, my boy. Nope.
You're not muted on the server.
We can't hear you.
This man can't figure out how to use a computer. That's wild.
That's crazy.
Mine, the video crashed. Can you hear me now?
We hear you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, mine, the video had crashed.
Okay, sure, bro.
Well, back to what I was saying though. I definitely agree. And like I looked at Jaron Funny when he was like, we shouldn't fire her, but they shouldn't fire her. But I don't know. I mean, I get it, and I don't think it was directly racist. I don't think it was directly racist, which is the only reason I say don't fire her. But do I think it's a knock to black women that's in the same position as, you know, her and keep Miss Taylor? I can't remember her first name.
Maria.
As Maria Taylor, as her, do I think that, you know, she should understand better? And do I think it's a knock to all black women and women, and maybe not women in general, but all women of black women and, you know, minority women? Yes, I think it's a knock on them. And like you said, like she admitted that, you know, even with her being a woman, there has been an issue. And if you understand it, you know, you probably got an opportunity because you're a woman. And is that wrong? No. I mean, I don't want to get into it because I'm gonna probably repeat myself later with, you know, some of the other topics we're gonna go about. But at the end of the day, it's like those rules and those opportunities have to be there, because if they weren't, we see there will be no women in that space. It'll be all men. And not only that, you know, it won't be no black person. It will be all white men who are in these positions over and over and over again. You will never get, you know, a taste of diversity. So, there's a necessity for that. And she was still going to be on the NBA Finals team. Maybe not, the position she wanted directly, but at the end of the day, like, you got to understand the society we're in. And sometimes you have to take a back seat, especially when finding out that her mother-in-law is the director of ABC. You know what I'm saying? You probably got chances along the way because of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's actually the case, but people are going to say that, So that's how they're going to be looked at it, whether that's true or not. So, I mean, I think you got to understand that. But my issue with the whole situation was, and this is things I was want to ask y'all, is I think we all can agree here that what she said was wrong. Now, with all us being minorities, if you're her friend, do you defend her and be like, "Oh, that's my friend. She didn't mean it like that," or do you check her? And I'll start with Keandre on this one.
Privately, I'm checking her. Like privately,
Whoa, wait. Let me say this too. Say you're asked like what's it, Kendrick Perkins and Jefferson was like on live TV. You asked to speak on a situation, and you're her friend. What's that? What are your words with her sitting right there and your voice to the public like?
okay. If so, I'm on live TV and I'm asked, then I have to be clear. The way she went about it was wrong. There, she definitely was wrong in the situation. She was wrong in what she said. She could have not said it at all. She should understand. Like we said, another woman going through the same situation. But also, I would speak to, if I know her personally, I'm gonna speak to her character. Like, okay, if I know her, I know like she's cool. She's never been racist. She's never shown any racist tendencies or anything like that. Then I will let that be known on air. Also, while also like I guess condemning her actions.
Or
Yeah, I agree. I'd probably do something similar. Because I mean, I guess just trying to keep it real for the show. Like Stephen A. Uh, I saw a video of Stephen A. Smith recently, like talking about Kyrie or something, and he was basically he was coming back at someone, maybe Kevin Durant, who someone alleged was like saying that Stephen A. was speaking for ESPN, like their opinion through him, and making it seem as if Stephen A kind of sold out. And in the video, Stephen A basically said like, no one has to tell me, no one is going to tell me what to say, and no one has to tell me what to say. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. So I would definitely try and do the same thing. Like if they're my friend, yeah, I'll make it known. I've known you for X amount of time. I've never, got any of those racist vibes from you. But in this situation, I can't agree with what you said. And I think that's perfectly normal and healthy communication, to be honest.
okay.
Me personally, I'm gonna defend my friend in public. You know what I mean? If I'm asked, but I'm gonna defend them to the point and say this. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I agree with what they said. I'm gonna say I know that person. He ain't ever done that to me. She ain't ever done that to me. I don't think they're like that, but I don't agree with what they said. You know what I'm saying? I think the frustration got to the best of them. You know what I'm saying? We all talk crazy when we upset sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's right or wrong, get your ass off my mouse. But yeah, so I definitely think that I would defend them saying that I don't think they're like that, but I would also be like, I don't agree with their opinion or whatever. We're gonna have me and that person are gonna have a conversation after this, kind of like what happened with Myth and old boy. But yeah,
I think that would be very hard for me to friend or not. I don't give a fuck. In a situation like this, I feel like the only reason why I could still possibly be friends with that person because what she said was not directly racist. She said a statement that was accurate because the black woman may have it could be accurate. I'm not saying it is accurate. It could be accurate, and may have because she was black. But me personally, if I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna say both sides of the story. I'm gonna say yes, she probably got it because she's black, but that's needed because she went and got this opportunity in a regular world. If these rules and all of this stuff wasn't in place for minorities to get the chance, because we've seen in the past and in the present that black people are just as qualified as every other race, and minorities are just as qualified as every other race. I say all the time, like I'm good at my job, and I don't, you know what I'm saying, I don't feel like nobody could do better than me. I mean, I do top tier work. So with that being said, without rules, like I may have got hired because of Verizon needed a certain percent of minorities, you know, whatever. But do I give a fuck? Hell no. Because at the end of the day, it don't knock my skills. I'm just as good. But they wouldn't have gave me the opportunity if these rules wasn't in place. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, like she should have acknowledged that it's right. Say you upset. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm upset or whatever. I feel like that should have been me. You know what I'm saying? I did everything right, this and that and the third, and they chose it because of diversity. But at the end of the day, I understand it and everything else that is needed. You know what I'm saying? I understand that. So, you know, I don't mind that. But as far as like the conversation about me being somebody's friend in a situation like this, right? I would have been like, you know, she was wrong or whatever. You know, she should have said it this way, this, that, and the third. You know, there's no reason for this comment or whatever. Like, I'm not gonna like try to hide my emotions just because they my friend. Because at the end of the day, I feel like that opinion of you not understanding why those rules are in place, there's no excuse for that. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a topic that I will unfriend you about. But am I gonna be a little cautious about certain topics and you know what I'm saying? Look at you a little more closely now? Hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just gonna happen. So with that being said, like I would also say like they haven't shown no racism towards me or anything like that, but they were wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave it at that. But I'm not gonna do what Kendrick Perkins and Jefferson done. They didn't address her wrong, and that's my issue. If y'all gonna speak accurately. Like you look like a tune when you know, she's talking about a black woman that got a job for this certain reason, and you're not defending a black woman. Like that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna defend a black woman every day of the week if she in the right in like in the situation, because she had nothing to do with that. It's not like she had sex with somebody to get that position. It's not like she bribed somebody, whatever. Like she was qualified. She was qualified to do the work, to do the job. So that's all that matters to me at the end of the day. And like I said, like those rules are you have to be given those opportunities to prove that you can do that. And without these type of rules and everything like that, and without diversity hires or giving people of color chances, you wouldn't see, you know, faces that look like mine in the media. You know what I'm saying? And they don't understand that that helps them too. Like Kendrick Perkins and Jefferson, y'all black. If we were still in the old days, y'all wouldn't be sitting there. It wouldn't be no money after basketball. You know what I'm saying? So like that's something they need to think about too. Same thing with Steven Jackson. Like y'all wouldn't have no space to say shit if it was the olden days and how it was. And because rules like this exist, or why you sitting right there today. So in my opinion, I feel like they didn't think about that, and they did the, and I want to say politically correct route. They took the, I don't know, I want to keep my job route, or I don't know, I want to save face. Like they took a bitch ass route, in my opinion. That's what I'm gonna call it. They took a bitch ass route. And me personally, I don't give a damn how much money, any of it. At the end of the day, I'm black. I'm proud to be black. And if that was me, I'm gonna speak my motherfucking mind, or they just not gonna air me on TV. But I'm gonna say my piece. That's gonna be me at the end of the day. But moving on,
Oh, wait,
so
before moving on,
go ahead.
with moving on, I guess it's all wrapped up in the same thing. So, for those that don't know, this whole thing is around what is it? Affirmative action, which is basically most businesses have a policy where they have to interview or give a chance for interview people of like a certain color, gender, race, sexuality, or nationality that is underrepresented within their company. And so, I guess my question is: do you think it was a bias on her end, on Rachel Nichols' end? Because I've had friends like on college campuses, like both ways, where they were like, "Oh, I got this interview that another friend didn't get, which the other friend was like white or something like that." And then it was a black friend, and he was like, "Gotta shout out affirmative action for that one," because like he thought that the white dude deserved the job more because his grades were higher. But I've also heard like other people of other races like say things like, "Man, he got the job or he got the interview, but I didn't." That's that affirmative action in place, and they were like upset about it. So do y'all think it's like a certain bias surrounding it?
I'll speak last on this since I just got done talking a lot. So, Jaron, why y'all want to go first?
Bias as far as what?
Like, as in, so for Rachel Nichols, affirmative action affects her none. Well, outside of being a woman, because she's underrepresented. But like, as far as being white, that's not something that affirmative action usually affects. So do
Right.
you think, she's upset because due to affirmative action or due to this rule that, or she believes that due to this person got this job? You think she's more upset with the fact that she got the job off of that than the person taking her job in general?
I don't think her thing is that I don't think her thing is the diversity. And just like going back and seeing what she said, I don't think her issue is that they're doing it for a black woman. Her issue is, which I think is a bigger story, is that like I'm cool with this like diversity thing. I'm cool with you giving it to a black woman, but you're not taking it from me. Like him, sure. My colleagues, yeah, go for it. But me, nah. And I think that's my problem with it. That's the biggest problem. The lack of empathy and like being that selfish with it. Like you've done this for so long. You have your own show and whatnot. Like, is it really gonna hurt your pockets that much? Is it really gonna hurt your fame that much or your pride? I don't know. To me, that just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
I agree 100% with what Wall said. Just reading back exactly what she said. If it wasn't no other, context, not other context, no other words said that we didn't know, that we didn't, see or read about, whatever. If it's exactly word for word the way it was, exactly the same thing. I just feel like it's more of a selfish, non-empathetic, thing more so than oh, it's a black woman, I don't want to give her a job. I don't want to, nah, it wasn't that. It was I'm a 2-year-old and I can't share. Or what I mean, you can't take my toys away. This is my toy. You can't have it. You know what I mean? And I mean, in the world, I mean, I understand that. You know what I mean? Like, if I feel like I'm doing a great job, I'm busting my ass to do certain things, and I feel like because of some screw up or some mishap in the company, now they go and give this person, another person of another race or even my race, a job. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be fucking butthurt. The one that I should deserve. I'm gonna be fucking butthurt. I'm gonna be like, bro, what I'm saying? I've been busting my ass for this. I deserve this. I'm gonna be upset too. So I think that in this climate, that's what makes it a big deal in my opinion. That's why it's newsworthy. That's why it's this. That's why it's that. Because even if it was, let's say she was a black woman and it was a black dude who got the job, and she said this, you know what I'm saying? Just because they're the same race, it don't matter. It's still the same thing. They taking away my toy. So it's like I feel like in my opinion, her thing wasn't an issue with the race. It was an issue with them taking away from her. So yeah.
I agree with that, but at the same time, I feel like it might have been a personal thing or this, that, and the third. But the only reason why I would argue against that is because she did not say the opposite side of why there was positive to that. Now, regardless of she being angry or not, that's my issue. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like me personally, if I have a problem with something, I try to acknowledge both sides of the story. I try to. So I feel like you being in that spotlight, like you got to understand that too. Because let's not
Hold on one
forget
second.
that she.
One second. Let me ask you this before you continue because I want to see what you think about this. If you're fucking pissed off or upset, you're not immediately gonna acknowledge a goddamn thing. It's not gonna happen. Anybody that's mad is just gonna say the negative. What upset them? Now later you might go back and be like, yeah, but you know what I'm saying, I like that they're doing this, this is a good side to it. But if when I'm reading it, this is from her being upset in the moment. So I feel like we gotta speak from that context versus a whole what if, you know what I mean?
Well, and this is the thing. This is why I said what I was going to say next is she acknowledged the fact that she probably got opportunities because she's a woman. So with you saying that, that is a positive. So that's why then you had to say, well, then maybe it makes sense that why she got hired because of diversity because ESPN is bad with that. So that's my issue that she didn't acknowledge both, but she acknowledged the shit for her. So yeah, it might be selfish, but I don't think it was a directly attack on black women. But was it attack on diversity hire? Yes. To me, it was. Unless it benefits you. If it don't benefit me, then we shouldn't diversify our hires. But when it benefited me, I was fine with that. That's how I feel like she was speaking from that. So to me, that's like racial because diversity is man, woman versus and race, black, white, whatever. So I feel like that's my issue with the whole situation. And I feel like watching her apology, she still didn't acknowledge the shit that I wanted her to acknowledge for me to feel like it was not somewhat diversity or racial driven behind that in her apology. So that's my issue with what she said. Because when you apologize, you're not mad no more. You're trying to save your ass. So she should have acknowledged the fact that like I have benefited too from these diversity hires, and I was upset, whatever. And I did not acknowledge the fact that it's a good thing that she was hired because this, that, and the third. And you might not want to say that, but that's why, in my opinion, I won't fuck with her no more because like you didn't acknowledge that in your apology either. You know what I'm saying? So that's my whole thing. Like, if you're gonna acknowledge when the benefit is you, acknowledge the whole thing. So as far as the bias goes, back to Keandre's question, I feel like okay, there might be a time when a white person don't get something because of it being affirmative action. And look, if we look at these jobs, look at the percentage of people that are white. Look at, especially at the higher level, that's where I want to go to. Even in my own company, we have an issue with the higher ups, managers, and directors not being of any diversity. They're all white. White males. White males. Let's get that correct. White males in these positions. So okay, you might miss out on one job because of it, but and so what? You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. Because if there was no need for affirmative action, think of how many people of color, and I hate to put black people in the same boat of people of color because a lot of people of color do not act like black people are in that same boat with them. But I'm gonna just say that for this purposes, people of color, you know, they wouldn't get shit. The percentage would be way lower if there was a percentage. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, and you missed out on these things. I don't feel bad for you. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't feel bad because at the end of the day, it is what it is. I mean, you're more likely to get another job opportunity, another interview, this, that, and the third at another company than a black person or a person of color is. Let's just being real. So regardless of they might people, and this is a stupid thing. Oh, racism isn't in the workplace anymore. The hiring process is totally fair. Bullshit. At the end of the day, you got to look at who's doing the hiring. White people. And what do they do? Hire people that look like them. Can I blame them? Nah, can't blame them. I can't. At the end of the day, everybody subconsciously thinks of when they look at a person to hire or be friends, something that can make you comforting. And let's all be honest, a person being the same race as you brings some comfort to you on some type of level. So that's already one step ahead of the competition that they have. If they just as required as the other candidate, why would I choose a person that made me more comfortable? So
that brings up a question for me. Well, or being black, you know how black people have that. You know, what I'm saying we see each other in the workplace, and we know that we're like very few. We see each other in the head nod. I'm not sure we had this discussion before, but is that same thing with with you for people of your ethnicity? Like it's the same thing. Like when you see one, be like, "Yo, hey, nigga, we here," type shit.
Not really for me, but I think I see a black person and I hit him with the more so than another Asian just because of the nature of who I've been around and who I grew up around.
Yeah.
So for me, yeah, it's a little different. I don't really look at Asians like that. I do acknowledge like, because I mean, when you well, it's kind of like a game for me. Like when you look at names, you can tell what Asian they are. You can tell if they're Vietnamese, Japanese, Korean, Chinese. So I do that, but I don't like. I'm not more friendly to them personally.
that makes sense.
Interesting. But continue, Kevin.
But yeah, so but back to what I was saying, like that's just how the human nature is to pick somebody that's more comfortable and somebody being the same race as you, make sure, or I want to say same color as you, but same background. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that you feel like you can relate to, and a lot of similar races can relate to. Like a person that's white could not relate to my background. You know what I'm saying? They haven't been racially profiled. You know what I'm saying? They're not from the hood, this, that, and the third. Like they haven't been through the shit I've been through. So they can't relate to me. And there are some white people that can. And if I was hiring a job and they came in there and I saw that, I'm like, all right, cool, I fuck with you type shit. So, but to me, it's somewhat about race, but the reason it's about race is because a lot of people with similar races, like Asians have a lot of the similar background. Black people have a lot of the similar background. White people have a lot of the similar background. So when you're finding somebody that you feel like you can work with, this, that, and the third, it's hard not to pick somebody that has a similar background as you, which is more likely than not the same race as you. So I feel like these rules have to be in place so you think outside of your comfort zone and look at the work that they're doing and maybe try to find something on another ground what they can relate to you on or something. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like these rules are in place for a reason. You know what I'm saying? They're not in a place for a reason. So to the white people out there, white, future graduates or whatever, at the end of that, you got to understand these rules are in place for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all might be making a small sacrifice, but think back in the day when, you know what I'm saying, y'all didn't have to make a sacrifice and everybody else suffered. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's for the greater good. And you'll find another job or whatever else. So, at the end of the day, that's how I feel about the whole bias situation. Like, I
Oh,
don't
but
feel bad for
also, the
people
thing
in this
about it
situation.
that I feel like a lot of people don't understand is it's not that they're automatically hired because there's that race. They just have to interview people of different races and whatnot. So if they interview you and you get the job, that's not affirmative action. You got the interview because of affirmative action, maybe potentially, but like if you get the job, that's on your own merit. So like at that point, you shouldn't even be talking about it.
And I definitely agree. And one thing before going to the next topic is, so I'm an ambassador for Verizon and I recruit from HBCUs. The HBCU hire percentage or intern and hire rate is way lower than the rest of the schools who hire predominantly white or not black students. So we need that because companies are not looking at every school or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like I feel like no matter where a person went to school, like he on the same level with me or she on the same level with me. I don't give a damn. Like you're not smarter than me because you went to UT or A&M or whatever the fuck. Like you know what I'm saying? Like that's what you may think, but nigga, I know different. So that's how I feel. Like that's why we need those type of opportunities and everything like that, and these type of rules because I would not have gotten an opportunity, or somebody that look like me wouldn't get the opportunity otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I don't got no, you know what I'm saying? I'm all in favor for affirmative action. Hell, this should be higher than fucking the percentage that they do have to interview. That's how I feel. But moving on, because I don't want to make this an hour long. I'm going to be about 45 minutes. The last topic I want to talk about is the Rooney Rule. Well, let's tie in affirmative action because my question is kind of like towards. Well, I guess you kind of asked the question about the bias because I was going to ask how y'all feel about it. So I guess we kind of said how we feel about affirmative action. So let's go to the Rooney Rule. So for people that don't know, the Rooney Rule is that owners have to at least interview, isn't it, one minority candidate when they're hiring a new coach? Isn't it just one?
I think so.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if this is part of the Rooney Rule, but it is a rule like you get more draft capital or picks or something or higher draft picks if you hire a black or minority head coach that's already within the organization. I know that's a rule, but I don't know if that's part of the Rooney Rule. But there's some type of incentive to hire a minority coach that's already inside of the coaching tree for the teams. But regardless, I don't know what rule that is, but that is a rule. So my question is for y'all, based on what y'all know and y'all seeing who is getting hired, who is getting these positions, do y'all feel like they need to do away with the Rooney Rule, change the Rooney Rule, or the Rooney Rule is fine how it is? Let me start with Wall.
I mean, if I recall correctly, there were complaints the last couple of years that it basically wasn't a thing. Like it was a non-factor. Like, yeah, they interviewed, I don't know, Brian Flores or some other black or Hispanic coach. But they ended up not getting the position. So it's like, okay, like you gave this dude a shot and he didn't get it. So it's like I think they could do more with it. I know like in the past, like there's some successful black coaches like Mike Tomlin, fucking obviously Brian Flores last year, Ron Rivera when he got picked up by the Panthers, but I mean there's some when you look at coaching staffs, like you can't just look at head coach only. Like it's easy to look at head coach, but like you look at I think Raheem Morris is the defensive coordinator for the Bucks. Like after their performance the past couple of years, there are too many minority coaches that have performed well and deserve shots, and some of them get it and they don't do nothing with it. I think Hugh Jackson is one of those, and Todd Bowles is another one. But like they're good at what they do and they deserve the shot and they got it. So yeah, I definitely think they could like expand on it, especially like in 2021. Like I didn't even know they got more draft capital or there was an incentive to hire minorities within the organization. But I mean, if it can benefit your team from hiring a great mind and then also getting more to work with, like I don't see why teams wouldn't push for that. So yeah, I definitely think they need to expand on it and do more with it.
Jaron?
I definitely agree with what Walt said and what Keandre said. Talking about it. I think that is a good rule. I think they could do more, like Walt said. I think there could be, not even incentive. I feel like somebody should be held accountable for these hirings, right? So I feel like when you hire this head coach or whatever, maybe you have to give a reason why, like a detailed reason to the board, like why you chose this coach over the rest of the candidates, giving them, stuff like that. I don't know, something like that to basically it'll let people know, like, yo, this person was actually better. And this is why I went with them. I mean, yeah, you could bullshit it and make up some bullshit, whatever the fuck. But I mean, to me, it'll do some more to bring light to the fact that I feel like some black coaches aren't getting a nod because they are black. And in this day and age, I can't even wrap my head around not going with the best person. I'm way too competitive to go with someone because he's black, white, anything. I'm way too competitive for that. I want to win. So if I feel like this guy can put me in the best position, that's who the fuck I want. I don't want, I'm saying someone because they look like me or whatever. So I mean, that's just who I am as a person. But you know, I think that they could do more. But I do agree that I like the rule. But I think they could do more.
Keandre?
So yeah, I agree with both of them. I think the issue with the last few years about the Rooney Rule isn't particular to the Rooney Rule. I think a lot of people have been having issues with um owners of the teams not being diverse, where like only a few owners of teams in the league are like I think it's like one or two black owners and they own a minority of the team, right? Or some shit like that. But for the Rooney Rule, I definitely agree with Wall where like they've given some people the opportunity, but like you see very few actual head coach hires for that. I think it's more effective within the what is it called? Senior football operations is another area where the Rooney Rule applies, and just looking at that, like looking at the NFO or whatever the wording for it is, just like three black people on there. One being a black woman who like graduated from UH. But like looking at their stories, like they had to do so much to even get to the point of being in like NFL operations and like vice president. Like the woman I'm talking about, whose name is Natara Holloway. Has been with the NFL for 15 years. Was vice president of youth in the high school football and did that for some years, graduated magna cum laude. Like a lot of the things she did would already give her like, in my eyes, the ability to work in that position, but like she still had to grind out and do all that. And so I think, maybe take away some of the difficulty for them to get in that position. Like if, like Jaron said, if they are the best for the job, they're the best for the job. It shouldn't take 15 years of hard work and doing runaround work or whatever that is to get to that position. And as far as owners, like there is a lot of teams that I think would do well with my minority owners. And just like, for example, Miami, like, that's a very Latin culture. To have like a Latin person be the owner of the team would do a lot for the city. Places like Carolina having a black owner and whatnot. I just think like it would do a lot more for the environment and for people growing up, like seeing those people. So, like Wall said, the Rooney Rule could be more.
And I definitely agree. And I was wrong. So the rule is a team that loses a minority assistant coach who becomes a head coach or loses a personnel executive who becomes a general manager will receive third round compensatory picks in each of the next two drafts. A team that loses two minority staffers to head coach or general manager position will receive three third round picks. So you receive picks if a person inside your staff becomes a head coach or in any. I don't know if it's your team, but I would assume your team as well. But I wouldn't say any just because that's what I think. Any team, if they become a head coach or a general manager, so that's the rule. So you get picks and shit. So I don't think that's part of the Rooney Rule. I think that's its own standalone rule. But to speak on the Rooney Rule, I agree. I think it's a good rule, but it needs to be expanded. You know what I'm saying? And like y'all said, I feel like the real problem is the owners. But Jaron, you said I don't care who it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna pick who I think can best help me win. But you gotta think two things. A, when somebody comes to pitch you something, at that point they know how to pitch themselves. So you probably hear some of the same shit by multiple people, and you know what I'm saying, their backgrounds are pretty much similar as far as like they was a good assistant coach, good position coach, this, that, and the third. So it comes back to being comfortable. Who would you rather choose? Somebody that makes you comfortable or somebody, or who makes you the most comfortable? You would rather choose somebody that makes you the most comfortable. So that's why I feel like they might feel like they're going with the black person with the white person subconsciously because that's what makes them more comfortable. So, and I watched Undisputed, and Shannon said like it's not as bad as it used to be, but subconsciously there's still a lot of racism in the NFL, and I think that's the case. Like there's some subconscious racism because the owners are not minorities, and that is an issue. These owners need to start being minority, but how do you make that happen? If I'm an owner of a team, you think I'm gonna just sell it to somebody if it's making me a lot of money? And like I got kids, why the fuck would I never give it to my kids? And 9 times out of 10, my kids are what, white. So you know what I'm saying? So like I feel like it's very hard to get the owners to change. You know what I'm saying? Unless like some racist stuff happen and they have to sell the team and this, that, and the third, like that's a different story. But while it's already in these families, how do you get them to sell the team? You can't. So I think it's a tough situation, and I think the Rooney Rule should try to do more with the Rooney Rule. Because like y'all said, like a lot of these assistant coaches that are minorities, they do great ass work as a defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator. And while you mentioned like people like Hugh Jackson, and somebody else, like it's a lot of coaches, black, white, whatever, that have are just bad head coaches. But I feel like when you're a bad minority coach, like that sets other coaches back for years. And like you were saying, Keandre, about how that woman had to do this, that, and the third. Like we can't be average. Minorities can't be average to get this position. You gotta be extraordinary. You gotta be just outright better in the competition, and still it's hard for you to get the position. You know what I'm saying? Because we saw some people that's came from college and were fucking position coaches in the NFL get head coaching jobs. Like what? How? You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, like we got to be better and just outright great, and also we can't have fuck ups. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm kind of mad at Deshaun Watson with like the Texans getting a black coach, even though he might not agree with him and he's not gonna play. Like, come on, bro. Like at the end of the day, it's bigger than you. This got something to do with like generations to come of how they gonna perceive black coaches. Another thing too, they give a black coach 1 or 2 years, but you see they give these white coaches 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. They might terminate them early, but they still get their check. You know what I'm saying? Like you give dude from the Raiders 10 years, and what does he have to prove for it so far? As what, year 3, 4? You know what I'm saying? He ain't been to the Super Bowl, none of that shit. You'll never see a black coach get something like that. You know what I'm saying? The only one I might say is Mike Tomlin, but most likely probably not. And he never had a losing season. So you see what I'm saying? Like even with that, like they set you up for failure. You have a horrible ass team, and they give you 2 years to try to improve that. Man, there's nothing anybody could do with a horrible ass team. Hugh Jackson might have been a horrible coach, but look what the talent he had. That motherfucker didn't have shit. So the Browns gonna be the fucking Browns. Even with the talent they got now, they still ain't as good as they should be because they the fucking Browns. That's just they culture. So, like that's my thoughts on that. But yeah, I like the Rooney Rule. I think they got to improve it. I don't know how you improve it. But I think that there's something that has to be done, and I think affirmative action is a good thing. But that's all I have. So I don't know if y'all have anything else to leave us off with. But this has been You Feel Me. Thank you for watching.